Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I, of course, am here with the Daily Mortgage Rate Update, the only place on the web where we get together every morning, each and every weekday morning, talking about what's going on with rates and pricing. You can join me each day at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, go ahead and give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. Let all the algorithms know you were here. Today, we are going to be talking about more on inflation. I was on the road yesterday, so I didn't get to dig in that deep into the CPI data. So I got some opportunities to kind of look that over a little bit closer this morning, as well as the wholesale inflation data that came in. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about chances of a September Fed rate cut and the market jitters that are starting to happen around that, what that means for mortgage rates. And we're going to talk about some other headlines that are pretty interesting, at least to me, that I'm going to share with y'all today. So thank you for joining me. If you're here, don't forget to smash that like button or share this post in a group or tag an LO friend. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and give us a thumbs up and all that good stuff as well. Remember, you can sign up and get a text reminder that I'm going live each morning. You can sign up for that at hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code right here if that is more to your liking. We got that set up for you as well. And don't forget, your comments are important. So, in fact, speaking of comments, Ron Siegel says today is National Hot Dog Day. Today is National Hot Dog Day. You'd think that'd be like, I don't know, is when do they do the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? Do you think they would do that on National Hot Dog Day? But so my question of the day for you, since today is National Hot Dog Day, and thank you, Mr. Ron Siegel, for pointing that out, is what is your preferred brand of hot dogs? So let me know in the comments, what is your preferred brand of hot dogs? Up in Jersey, they had a brand called Best's, and they were always good. I like Boar's Head hot dogs, believe it or not. It's bougie, but they're very good. And otherwise, I think what do I go to? It's funny. I can look at the package. Sabrett's. Sabrett's are the other ones that I go to. They're my go-to on hot dogs. There absolutely is a difference in hot dogs, especially when it comes to like Oscar Mayer hot dogs, like those, the hot dogs that are just soft and they don't have any skin or any snap. Once you've been in New York and you've had dirty dogs, that have been sitting in that water and they've got a snap to them, steamed buns, hot dogs are like a delicacy when you've had that. When I visited New Jersey, I went to Rutt's Hut. You should Google it. I'm sure it's been on some of those famous food shows. Rutt's Hut, where home of the Ripper, which is where they actually put hot dogs into deep fryers until they pop open. They rip open. Those are by far awesome freaking dogs. And Carmen, Jersey guy, have you ever been to Rutt's Hut, Carmen? Let everybody know. Come on, have you been to Rutt's Hut? And there you go. So, all right, y'all, while you guys have that, I am going to go ahead and let's get started now that we've got the fun stuff and we've got that out of the way. So first things first, yesterday, quick recap. And let me show you the screens here. We'll go over it. Bonds lost ground during the day yesterday. So pricing came out right around 10 a.m. right here. And you can see it just, we just further down. And of course, we ended the day lower on the day. Now, it wasn't enough that we saw more than a handful of late day reprices worse. Kind of by the time we got to here, there were some lenders that were repricing worse. And of course, when we look at this, it was all setting us up for pricing to be worse this morning. However, take a look at this. We got an initial bounce before the data, and then we got our wholesale inflation data, which pushed things all the way up here, back up to right around 99.10. And that, has kind of held so far. We're currently up 15 basis points on the morning, which actually puts us, if we draw a line, look at that, it puts us higher than where we were at when pricing came out yesterday. So again, we are right here. We're currently up 15 basis points on the morning. That puts us up a little bit higher from where pricing came out yesterday. So you should see rate sheets that are slightly better than what we got yesterday. If not, they'll at least be similar, right? So that was a surprise. The wholesale inflation data was a big component that helped us out this morning. And let's go ahead and kind of talk about what that was. Before I do, reprice risk on the day is moderate. The gains that we have are not strong enough to get overly excited about. It's certainly, it's better than a poke in the eye, but it's not necessarily going to be a big enough rebound to get overly excited. So let me go ahead and let me make this screen a little bit smaller here. Okay, so taking a look, 10-year Treasury yield 4.45. That is important because we are below that 4.5 mark, and we want to stay below that 4.5 if we can. If we take a look, we could see that, like some of these past levels here, we're just flirting. I'm trying to keep this line straight. We're flirting just right below those levels right here. You can see. But I don't necessarily feel good that we're going to stay below those levels based on what we're seeing here. So reprice risk on the day is moderate. We could see some pullback. However, I got to tell you, so far so good. It looks like, traders want bonds to do well today. We're seeing that kind of improve a little bit. But if we hold these gains as pricing comes out, if we do see any kind of a trickle down, that's going to put us in more of a blah position, right? But taking a look here, let's talk about what happened with the wholesale inflation data yesterday. I have a lot of articles open, so hold on, I got to see. All right, here you go. So this one, I hit all these stupid pop-ups. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. The U.S., they always talk about the U.S. 30-year, even though we're looking at the 10-year, but it's still important to kind of recognize some things here. So this is the 30-year yield tops 5% as traders pair bets on rate cuts. And you will see that that is absolutely true. So right now, expectations for the Fed to cut almost non-existent for July. 98% expectation that we'll be exactly where we are at now. Let me make this a little smaller so that you guys can see all the numbers that I want to show you. All right. Now, let's go ahead and go here. The September cut, this is that we would stay the same. It's a 44% probability and barely a win, 55% probability that we will see a rate cut. That is a big difference over a week ago. A week ago, take a look at these numbers. We were at a 30% expectation that we would see a rate cut, and now we are at a 45%. So that's a big change. It's 150% higher expectation. And of course, this is where we lost it. So the expectation of a rate cut has now fallen lower. So markets are starting to pull back on the idea. They're starting to get jitters that we will see a rate cut in September. Now, there's a lot of arguments going back and forth about whether we should see a rate cut or not. So I know that Ron Siegel is a big fan of Danielle DiMartino Booth. She is a very, very smart woman and much smarter than me about this stuff and what's going on in the economy. And she really came out, right here and, she said that I'm trying to find where it was in here, but basically the gist of this article was that even though we've seen some evidence of inflation, increasing a little bit, we still need to see this. So she said at face value, this is more fodder to extend the Fed's policy pause, which is what they've done, right? And she's talking about all the different things happening with the Empire manufacturing data, which is not a big data point, but one that she was definitely looking at. She looks at everything very closely. I'm trying to find where it said, so it said, we won't fight the tape or the Fed's facetious facade. In the real world, though, these underlying inflation trends have prompted central bank easing yesterday. So she's definitely in that camp that thinks that the Fed should be cutting rates. Although it seems there's a lot of people that are in that camp. I don't know. Everyone says about how we should be, but yet we struggle through that whole thing. There was also an interesting article. Let's see if I was trying to see here. One of the people was just talking about how hard it is. I think it was in one of the Bloomberg. All right, we'll come back to that. So anyway, a couple of things here. Trump effects starting to show up in the economy. Again, you get one article that says one thing, one article that says another. Tariffs and immigration policy starting to affect the economy with price increases on key imports and a slowing in jobs growth. This would encourage the Fed to cut rates if we get the slowing in job growth and the slowdown in the economy. The problem is if it goes along with inflation. Now, the Fed has already said that they will allow inflation to take the backseat to the jobs growth. Now, remember, we have 2 more BLS jobs data dates coming between now and the next Fed meeting. So I don't expect that we're going to get a strong signal at this next meeting, at this July meeting. I think that one's going to kind of hold. Okay, I'll get to Randy's article in a second. So, Ron says Danielle DiMartino is brilliant. Reading her stuff makes me better informed. It makes me just feel dumb. I have to reread her stuff twice, dude. Her stuff is so top shelf. She is definitely a extremely intelligent individual. So anyway, kind of what I'm going about with here was I lost my thoughts. See, I got to stop reading the comments when I'm doing this stuff. Anyway, you guys are with me. Randy's pointing out something interesting. He said an interesting note yesterday from BarkBox, which they send stuff for dogs, right? It's like a monthly service. They're reacting to tariffs by changing their packaging from a monthly box to a sack so as to not pass on tariff price increases. Yeah, well, companies know that consumers are fatigued. They're not doing it to be nice. They're doing it to keep up their bottom lines. They're trying to find ways to absorb some of this. And some companies have a lot more room than others because some companies have taken advantage of us during the pandemic and post-pandemic period. Who else feels that way? Again, I went shopping yesterday. I'll take you off for a quick tour here. So I'm in the little thing I rent here for Texas, right? And I went shopping. And I picked up some groceries. Hold on, I got to turn off the fuzzy camera. Where do I turn off the fuzzy camera? Fuzzy background camera. Here we go. Turn that off, turn that off, turn that off. All right. So, that's not exactly like the world's biggest bounty, right? We've got some fruit on there, some bananas, some pickles, peaches, but I spent $100 at the store just picking up, that not just that stuff, but fruit. I picked up a thing of berries. They were $16 for berries. It was like, holy smokes, man. So it is expensive. This stuff is out there, and they have, whether we get new inflation or not, that's definitely, who else is feeling that pinch? I mean, you go out and you buy anything. I bought a thing of cookies. I don't eat cookies a lot. They were $5. I don't remember cookies being $5. So anyway, you have ChatGPT prompt and summarize, put it into a 9th grade reading level. Smart, Ron. Yeah, I do that. I actually did that a couple of times too, to see what it came back at. Sometimes it changes things though, so I'm careful with that. Ron said it seems like it'd be hard to make a Costco run when you're on a motorcycle. It is, but I can get a lot on the motorcycle. Jerry said, you mean prices are going up on agriculture? That hasn't even hit yet, Jerry. And yes, absolutely. When we turn around and deport the workforce of people that are out there doing menial labor, that's going to affect prices. So we're on the same page with that one. Randy, love those pickles. Dude, pickles are I love pickles. Pickles are great. Locale thing. So anyway, going back with what's on here, the overall sentiment, so many articles this morning that there were to go over, right? So wholesale inflation came in basically better than expected, but there's arguments on why that happened. And a lot of the inflation data yesterday, traders are looking at key components of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, trying to figure out how those key components are going to play in the PCE, the personal consumption expenditure, which will come later in the month. And that's the Fed's favorite gauge of inflation. So, it's they're looking at that PCI and getting or a CPI rather, and getting the idea of what is going to happen with this other one. But the Fed, they have time to sit back. They're going to float through this July meeting, and it's only 6 weeks. Is it 6 weeks? Yes, it's 6 weeks till the September meeting, but it seems like forever because we're going to get 2 more BLS jobs data, non-farm payroll, unemployment reports. We're going to get 2 more CPI reports, and still right now 2 more PCE reports. So there's so many things that they can do, and it'll depend on how that data comes in. There's arguments that they're going to come in late. So let's go over some of the other things real quick, though. We're 16 minutes in, but I do have some time. Let's go through some of these headlines together real quick. So looking here first, this was the PC, the producer prices, right? So U.S. producer prices unchanged in June. Yeah, come on, get rid of these stupid ads. U.S. producer prices were unexpectedly unchanged in June as an increase in the cost of goods because the tariffs on imports were offset by a weakness in services, right? So in the 12 months through June, the producer price index increased 2.3% after advancing 2.7% in May. So it did drop. Data on Tuesday showed consumer prices picking up in June with solid gains in tariff-exposed goods like household furnishings and supplies. Think of it. It's a lot of the stuff that comes from China. Appliances, sporting goods and toys, as well as windows, floor coverings, and linens. Yes, I don't see how we could not pay less or not pay more for these things, right? Economists said June's consumer price index report was likely the start of tariff-induced increase on inflation and the import duties announced in April. Now, there's more announcements that are coming, supposed to happen in August. Now, let me see. Do I have the top? All right. So, Taco is what was that? Is that shortening? That it's the thing about Trump always Trump always chickens out, right? So they call it Taco, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there is argument that Trump, the way he goes about it has now become, what do you call that? Where you expect it, you read through it. It's certainly not, it's transparent. But there's, he does it the same way, but yet in argument it's working. So he's still pounding tariffs on things and then rolling them back to get numbers that he wants and where that's there. So this was a bit of an interesting article from the Wall Street Journal. Let's see, this was the one that kind of came in. So when it comes to trying to anticipate what things are happening and where they're going to go, there is definitely a lot of argument. Clarity about tariff-related inflation has been elusive as the administration has repeatedly set and extended deadlines for reaching agreements. And this one really just talked about how it's hard to anticipate and plan on what's going on when everything's constantly changing and updating. This one, let me go back to this because we didn't talk about this. So U.S. Treasury slump, pushing the 30-year yield above 5% for the first time since June as traders focused on the potential for tariff-driven inflation to push back Federal Reserve. And we did see the 10-year, by the way. It didn't go back up, but it is the highest level since we saw back in June as well. So we're seeing that same behavior for the 10-year as well as that 30-year. Traders priced in somewhat lower odds. The Fed will cut rates more than once this year, with the probability of a move in September now seen as only slightly higher than 50%. And that is exactly what's going on. So as that slips, we're going to see the ability for rates to improve slip a little bit more on that. Stop popping up all this stuff. All right. This one, Hassett grabs the pole position in race to be Trump's new Fed chair. Again, this is earlier than normal because they're talking about trying to implement, a shadow Fed concept where the new incoming Fed chair will have some influence before Powell is gone, right? So Kevin Hassett, Kevin Warsh are the top contenders. Again, I do not understand how this guy is on the list. Anything I've read doesn't make sense to me about his policies. I don't know much about Kevin Hassett yet. I haven't really read up on him. One of President Donald Trump's longest-serving economic aides and the early frontrunner to replace Jerome Powell as Fed chair next year. So I'm going to be reading up on this a little bit. That'll be interesting. I'd like to see a little bit more about that. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at today, y'all, and what's going on. Good morning, Julie Lawrence, Leroy Romero. Tacos. We're talking about hot dogs. How did y'all end up at tacos? Yeah, sorry, Jerry. It slipped. So let's see. What did y'all come up with? You guys gave me your hot dogs, right? We talked about all the hot dogs. What is your preferred brand of hot dog? Let's see. I'm scrolling back through to see what y'all have. Randy Teakle, he's a Hebrew National Beef guy. Carmen was a Dietz and Watson. That's what I've got for cold cuts this morning. Good morning, Alan Christian, if you're still here. Let's see. Who else? But oh, yeah. Tim Klyla. A lot of Hebrew National. I didn't realize they were so popular. Hot dog contests are so gross. Yeah, they are, dude. Nathan's, kosher hot dogs, Nathan's. Yeah, let's see. So I've never heard of Kogel. Hebrew National, Market Beef Hot Dogs, quarter pound. Yeah, I tell you, the Boar's Head ones, don't sleep on them. Try those Boar's Head ones. They're good. They're definitely good. So, all right, my friends, I've seen a bit of a drop down, so I just need to remind everybody, you can sign up for our written email lock advice, www.ratelockadvice.com. You can sign up for our text alerts at www.ratetextalerts.com. Go check out Grab and Go Social and go check out Originator Success. So, all right, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate y'all joining me as always. And, tomorrow, depending, I don't know whether I'm in the morning group or the afternoon group, so I don't know how long it will be, but bear with me over the next couple of days as I am here in Texas. Let me move that out of the QR code. As I'm here in Texas for the VetaVA summer camp, looking forward to seeing some of my friends in person, like Mr. Randy Teakle. I think Jerry Avila said you were going to be here, so good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well. And if y'all are if you guys just bear with me, if I'm late or if something happens for the next couple of days, I'll do my best to stay on schedule, but this is where I'm at and this is what's happening. So, all right, y'all, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.